Surveillance video shows Iryna Zarutska getting on the train by herself in her work uniform, sitting down by herself in a row that just happened to be in front of DeCarlos Brown Jr. Approximately 4 minutes later, Mr. Brown pulled out a pocket knife. You see him on video open that pocket knife, and he stabbed her 3 times in the neck. He then walked off the train with blood dripping from the knife. This is obviously a horrible, horrible situation.
With her throat slit and beginning to bleed out, 23-year-old Iryna Zarutska covered her mouth. She grabbed at her throat and looked up in disbelief at the man who had just stabbed her, as if to ask, why?
This is Iryna Zarutska. She's from Ukraine, came to the United States because of the war that's happening in her country, and she met a tragic death. This is extremely sad. It's gone viral on several occasions. Now, I'm going to share with you some comments, some remarks from a number of people. I have a few videos here from X to talk about this. Number one, what happened to this young lady? Let's listen to the White House Press Secretary, Caroline Leavitt, and she is speaking about this. Take a listen.
Today, I would like to address the tragedy that has not received nearly enough media attention, the brutal murder of Iryna Zarutska. Here are the facts that many outlets have shamefully and intentionally failed to report until President Trump drew attention to it. On August 22nd, Iryna Zarutska was stabbed to death on the rail system in Charlotte, North Carolina, by a savage career criminal. This is a public transportation system that many in the area use every single day to go to school and work. Iryna was on the train that night traveling home from her job at a pizzeria, still in uniform from her shift. This beautiful, innocent 23-year-old young woman was a Ukrainian refugee who had recently fled her country for a chance at a safer life and a promising new beginning here in the United States of America. But tragically, a public transportation system in a major American city was more dangerous than the active war zone that she left. The president and the entire White House are praying for her family and friends during this unimaginably difficult time. But while we extend our thoughts and prayers, we must also seek justice for this crime and call attention to this heinous incident. Surveillance video of the killing was finally released to the public this past Friday. It shows the alleged killer, DeCarlos Brown Jr., pull out a knife, get up from his seat behind Iryna, and prepare to thrust a blade into her neck before the released footage gets cut. This is pure evil on full display. The most enraging and unacceptable part of this story is that her death was entirely preventable. DeCarlos Brown never should have been on that train that night. In fact, he should have been behind bars. DeCarlos Brown has been charged with crimes no fewer than 14 times, dating back to 2011, including for armed robbery, felony larceny, breaking and entering, and shoplifting. Brown had previously served 5 years in prison for a robbery with a deadly weapon charge, and he had also forfeited bonds 3 different times, twice in 2014 and once in 2023. Despite all of this past documented criminal history, when Brown was arrested yet again in January of this past year, a Democrat judge, who I will add was a strong supporter of former Vice President Kamala Harris, released this insane criminal once again without requiring him to pay any bail. He simply had to sign a written promise to return for his court hearing. Think about how crazy it is to ask a career criminal, someone who by definition repeatedly breaks the law, to just sign a written promise and come back again another day. This is madness. This monster should have been locked up, and Iryna should still be alive. But Democrat politicians, liberal judges, and weak prosecutors would rather virtue signal than lock up criminals and protect their communities. And perhaps most shamefully of all, the majority of the media, many outlets in this room, decided that her murder was not worth reporting on originally because it does not fit a preferred narrative. Many of the journalists in this room spilled plenty of ink trying to smear Daniel Penny for defending a subway car from a deranged lunatic in New York City, but none of those same reporters lift a finger to write stories about an actual murderer.
I have to agree. This should have never happened under any circumstance whatsoever. This was poor decision, bad policy. This definitely could have been prevented. And the video is available if you want to see that online. And again, I can play a portion of this. There's no way I can play the entire thing, but you can find it on the internet. All right, so I can only play part of this video. And if you're watching very carefully here, I'm going to have to blur some part of this thing because of the nature of this. She came into the train coming from work, sat there and have her phone, earpiece, and here he is behind her, pulled a knife and did the following things. Listen carefully to what's happening here. We're going to have to blur because of the blood, and there's some things we will not allow people to see because of the platform that we are on. And if you want to see the rest of this, you can go on my Rumble, and there the entire video will be present. This was heartbreaking. And if you could hear him in the background, what he said is, I got the white girl. I got the white girl. And people are wondering whether or not if this is racially motivated. Of course it is. Of course it is. We're going to listen to a CNN panelist here speaking about this and totally failed to realize what's happening. Keep in mind that that situation happened weeks ago. They have not covered it, said nothing about it. And all of a sudden, there is this discussion happening here coming from Van Jones. And look at this. This is just poor, unethical behavior.
We don't know why that man did what he did. And for Charlie Kirk to say, we know he did it because she's white, when there's no evidence of that, it's just pure race mongering, hate mongering.
Did you hear what he said as he was walking through? I got the white girl. I got the white girl. So, of course, people know exactly what's happening here. And again, President Trump came out and had a few words to share as well.
For far too long, Americans have been forced to put up with Democrat-run cities that set loose savage, bloodthirsty criminals to prey on innocent people, really very, very innocent people. In every place, they control radical left judges, politicians, and activists, and they've adopted a policy of catch and release for thugs and killers. In Charlotte, North Carolina, we saw the results of these policies when a 23-year-old woman who came here from Ukraine met her bloody end on a public train. And here's a picture of it. This is the picture of it. And this is a picture of the woman. A beautiful young girl that never had problems in life, with a magnificent future in this country. And now she's dead. She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country. We have to respond with force and strength. We have to be vicious just like they are. It's the only thing they understand. 24 of the top 25 most dangerous cities in America are run by Democrat mayors. 50 people were murdered in Chicago in recent weeks, with hundreds being shot. And it's time to stop this madness. The people of our country need to insist on protection, safety, law, and order. We have proven that it can be done, because we did it right here in D.C., in District of Columbia. The capital of America was a bloodthirsty, horrible, dangerous place, one of the worst. And now it's a crime-free city, and we're going to keep it that way. It can be done. It can happen fast. All we want is, please, Mr. President, we need help. Chicago needs help. Other cities need help. We'll do what has to be done, because we're going to make America safe again, and that includes our big cities. We're going to make those cities safe. Thank you.
If you look at the face of this young lady after she was knifed, you can tell she's looking at him like, why did you do this? There was no reason for this whatsoever. Now, there is a video that's been released, and I have yet to determine the nature of this. It sounds legitimate, and what the person is claiming here, it says this is the Carlos Brown that's speaking, the man who took the life of the girl. He is saying some things really strange, right? He said there's some materials in his body that has led to this. Anyway, you take a listen. You let me know what you think about this. I have to blur some of the images here, but you can at least hear the voice.
So you said something in your body did what?
Nah, the material, put it like this, the material using my body to stab the lady.
And so she just got stabbed.
Yeah. You know that's not me. I'm talking about just for no reason. But since they did that, now they got to investigate the material in my body exposed to. Since they want to do all that, now they got to investigate.
It's funny because she's from the Ukraine. She's from Russia, and you know they got a war. They had a war going on against the United States. So I'm just trying to understand, out of all people, why her?
That's hey, it ain't. I don't have nothing. They just lashed out on her. That's what happened. They lashed out on her. Whoever was working the material, they lashed out on her.
Now, that's a strange narrative, right? Some material in my body caused me to do this to this young lady. I don't know the nature of this. We can't run with this. But again, nevertheless, whether it was mental health, materials in his body, this much we know, right? This individual has been behind bars at least 14 times. And he was released and he should have been kept in prison. This is not okay. You can't really justify this behavior under any circumstance. But here is the thing. We can say a lot more about this judge, and people are calling out this judge as well. And that's another discussion to be had. I want you to notice this picture here. This is probably the saddest part of the whole thing for me. Let me make my screen a little bit bigger for you. On her wall, what do you find? There it is. Black Lives Matter. Yes. She was a supporter of Black Lives Matter. I can't breathe. Here is the fist right there. Who took her life? A black man. Why? She's a white girl. She's a white girl. Friends, you know, I don't like to make these type of videos, but this video has to be made because human beings are human beings. We should not be sugarcoating this matter. This matter has gone too far. There has to be some drastic changes as a result of this in both policies, in the way that we talk about crimes in the society today, and the way that we treat each other. The racial tension in this country is really, really bad. Now, keep in mind, there's been violence from whites toward black, but there's also been violence blacks toward white, and there's interracial violence. But the numbers are showing black people have committed more violence than white people have. And I'm going to show this to you. And the facts remain true. And I'm saying this as a black man. The black community are more violent toward white people in today's culture than the other way around. So let me show you the numbers now.
Now, why would that be? Why would one story demand 100 articles and another story 0 articles? And it's because the media is more interested in the all capitals story, the narrative, than the facts or the truth. Take a look at the difference here. I want to show you the actual truth when it comes to crime. The story is about race. Race. Take a look at the black on white crimes, 385,000 in 2023. The white on black crimes, just under 118,000. You see the comparative numerical difference. But now, here's what the media actually does. They did what our camera operator just began to do a moment ago. I'm going to step out of the way. I'm going to show you literally what the media does with a camera. They zoom in on this number. This number, devoid of context.
You know, ideas have consequences, sometimes very, very bad ones. And the Bible did tell us that in the last days, there's going to be a racial tension happening in Matthew 24. There's going to be nations versus nations, if the word ethnicity. That is literally happening as we speak. Vice President J.D. Vance stated, law enforcement arrested this thug 14 times. It wasn't law enforcement that failed. It was weak politicians like you who kept letting them out of prison. Now, I want you to notice what's happening here. This is AP News. When you do this research, you can see the media bias. George Floyd, 74,221 result. Iryna Zarutska, 0 result. So that means they're not covering this. They're not talking about. That's what I'm talking about, because it's like, yo, this is not okay. Irrespective of skin color or how you feel about this matter, it's wrong. So AP News story, 0. PBS, 0. New York, 0. NPR, 0. WSJ, 0. BBC, CNN, WAPO, Reuters, MSNBC, 0. 0. There's nothing they have to say about it now, because the news has gone viral and people kept on talking about it. Now some of them are saying a few things, but they are still defending the perpetrator here. They're not really defending and standing for the family or that young lady. This story is a direct result of poor social justice warrior policies in our country today. There's been a lot of soft on crime policies and many other laws that were either undone or overdone as a result of the George Floyd protests and the death that happened there. There was an overcorrection. Now we have to go back and fix that. But at the same time, there's a concern that we can also go to the other direction where we start overcorrecting the matter. But nevertheless, I think criminals like Brown should be kept behind bars, irrespective of their mental health. That could be dealt with while they are in prison, should have never been freed. This young lady, Iryna, should have never lost her life in the way that she did. This is sad. It is heartbreaking. I'm speaking against it because it's not right. Irrespective of her skin color, this was definitely racially motivated. There's no doubt in my mind. It was abundantly clear when you look at the several individuals that are sitting in the train here. So think about it. You have 4 black people in this picture here. 1, 2, 3, 4. And he targeted her. Like, what else do you think it is? What else could it possibly is? We have no other reasons to think of any other thing. And this is a sad, sad story. It should have never happened. And it's a heartbreaking situation indeed. My heart goes out to this young lady, and I pray for the family of this young lady. She doesn't deserve this. It's a heartbreaking situation, and hopefully something good can come out of this. There will be some positive changes in the hope of saving people's lives. Sad, heartbreaking. I don't know what to do with this. It's really a tough one. I'm just speaking against it because it's at a point where I can no longer be quiet about this matter. And there are many more cases like this. And I'm telling you, friends, it is a sad situation. What do you think about this video? Where do you stand when it comes to the situation? I would like to hear your opinion on the matter. What about the role of the church? How do you see this thing going? Where do you think this thing could go? I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Until next time, have a good one. Bye.